Ladies and gentlemen, guys and gals, non-binary pals, and the technicolor rainbow in between, this is Modular Media Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Chris Boingo Ryder Gaston, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner in this endeavor,
The Vacuuminator, reporting for duty.
You don't seem hype, bro. You don't seem excited for this, man.
Well, I apologize. It just so happens that the latter half of my day put me in a piss poor mood. So I'm here. I'm doing my best. Damn it. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get it done. You know, I'm an entertainer. I'm a professional. I still came into work today.
All right. Hold on. We're good. I saw the letters, the number 0, and I was like, oh no, what is that number 0 for? And it's like, oh yeah, we haven't had a skipped frame, so like, fuck yeah. Oh right, mate. Oh mate. Fucking dingus.
Save the accents for the pre-show, buddy.
Fucking what pre-show? Just trying to get a fucking pop out of each other. That's all the pre-show is. Is this me going like, all right, here's a joke. Does it make you pop? It makes it pop. Sweet.
That is. There's genuinely usually 40 minutes to an hour and a half before we start broadcasting or recording or whatever, where we're just bullshitting around. Because we are genuinely friends. This isn't a work. We're not just colleagues. We're fucking buddies and pals and shit.
We're not fucking buddies.
No, not yet at least.
No, there needs to be at least a couple condoms.
Yeah, and like a very long car ride.
In Alaska, probably.
Oh, good Christ almighty.
But this is Modular Media Wrestling Podcast, where we talk about the pro wrestling, the graps, the grapples, and the so-ons and the so-forths that we liked in the week. We got a card that we're going to talk about, so we're going to talk about the episode of AEW Dynamite a little bit later. But in the meantime, we got some unmatched photos of the new toy line that Jazzwares is doing, eh?
Yeah, the final promotional photography for AEW Unmatched Series 1 was posted earlier this week. There's a lot of toy news in general this week because this is what would have been SDCC under a normal year's circumstances, because we're just getting out of the woods yet. They're not quite ready to put on an event of such capacity right now.
Yeah.
So a lot of toy companies, they're stuck in their normal production cycles because that's just the way the machine works. So a lot of big news dropping in the latter half of the month right now, and Jazzworks wanted to get on some of the fun of that. So they said, hey, here's the final photos of a match series 1. GameStop and Ringside Collectibles should be getting these in and shipping them out fairly soon. Though I wouldn't exactly count on Ringside shipping early like they usually do, because they have been backed up for almost 2 months now. I think it's some combination of understaffed and just a lot more orders than they expect for this time of year. I got shipping confirmation for AEW Unrivaled Series 6 figures I bought over... Originally, I was sent like the, hey, how do we do packing and shipping this survey like a month before these actually shipped to me. And I just got these this week. So that gives you the idea of the kind of delay they're working with right now. And just real quick to comment on Unrivaled Series 6, I only got the 2 new characters. I kind of decided I just wanted the 2 new characters, and if I see MJF in person, I will pick him up because he's got a new accessory, or an accessory that until that figure was exclusive to a Chase figure. But Hikaru Shida, she's looking pretty nice, pretty resplendent. I think they got the likeness about as good as they possibly could have.
It's a good likeness. I think it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks a little toyetic, but I don't mind that.
Yeah, and that's kind of a thing with the Unrivaled line in general. Very, very rarely does it look like photo real. I do have one problem, though. Somebody brought up on the AEW Unrivaled subreddit, Jeremy Padower said the final product would come with a kendo stick. I don't see a kendo stick in here anywhere. So that's a bit of a disappointment. I'm gonna have to track down a WWE or a third party one.
You could probably
And
find an
then,
Oscar with one.
yeah. And then Jake Hager is a man in a hoodie.
Yeah. Jake Hager's grown on me, though, past few months.
Oh no, he's a great performer. This figure just looks extremely dull.
I mean, that was in his extremely dull phase.
Uh-huh.
You know.
I mean, there's one other figure of him that has him in camo pants and an inner circle shirt. I believe that's the chase for this wave. But what are the odds of me finding that?
The joke is that he found the chase of Cody Rhodes the other week.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah.
And then also in AEW news, Ringside just put up Unrivaled Series 7 for pre-order, which, as a quick reminder, is the line debuts of Lance Archer, Nyla Rose, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler, as well as the Young Bucks in their "We just won the tag titles and we're not quite heels yet."
Yeah. Those Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in time, I want pure heel Buck look.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for them to do like the white gear that they came out in that 1 week. That's the figures I really
see.
want.
I really want the streetwear look where it had like
the
the
one where
label.
there was all the labels.
Yeah, the like zipper.
I would also take that, admittedly.
Yeah. No, FTR is good to get a figure. I'm happy for them.
Mm-hmm. Nyla is super awesome.
Yeah. Lance Archer. That's especially good considering what just happened this week's episode. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I wonder if they're gonna like do a last minute update to.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think they have the rights to those things yet, because it's been very much on the production side and not on the merchandise side that these kind of
and
things.
That's also. Ooh, I'll have to check into that. I wonder if there's a Super 7 New Japan figure that comes with the thing.
Ooh, yeah. That'd be good. And you can always find a 3D printer on Etsy printing them.
True. But that is it for AEW toy news. We also got some major WWE toy news this week in the form of the first Mattel Creations project for the Mattel WWE line. For those of you who aren't familiar with Mattel Creations, it's basically a poor man's Hasbro Pulse. I'm not even kidding. I've been on the website, and it feels like a clunkily designed Hasbro Pulse.
Isn't this basically like a HasLab?
Yeah. And what it is a Mattel WWE Ultimate Edition Mattel Creations New Generation Era ring. Which is the actual ring with very as realistic as you can do with a toy turnbuckles, and you can actually pull up a cloth ring skirt and canvas to reveal wooden boards underneath.
Plunder.
And there is an entranceway very similar to the ones they had during the New Generation era. And the set comes with an Ultimate Edition figure of Diesel. As a set, I think this is a neat idea. However, it is entirely unappealing to me since I'm completely unfamiliar with the New Generation era. I've seen like 2 matches from that era total. Honestly, as a crowdfunding project, as the first crowdfunding project for the Mattel WWE line, I think it's a really fucking weak choice. I mean, what else? So many more creative things you could have done.
A Metal Hell in the Cell.
Yeah, you could have done a Metal Hell in a Cell. You could have done a Firefly Funhouse match playset. You could have done a Boneyard match playset. And this is just me pulling from things from the last couple of years. You could have done a Climb the Corporate Ladder Money in the Bank match playset.
Yeah. Or a full scale Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. All these things that we've only gotten kind of dumbed down versions of in the line. And this is the Ultimate Edition, and it's just a ring.
And it's not even a ring from an era people like.
Yeah, it's a ring for a very specific kind of fan. It's honestly a ring for people Matt Cardona's age.
Because that was also the Moon Max era of WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if this
Like
was
that would,
Raw as War with a Stone Cold, yeah, no, that'd be perfect.
yeah. But like this is from the era when the only guys they had that were at all big names were Michaels, Hart, and Diesel. And
Yeah.
so they put Diesel in here as like, here's your Ultimate Edition Diesel, and it's like, who care? Like Kevin Nash is a lovely man, but who cares enough about Diesel specifically that they're gonna back
Yeah,
this? And I gotta look.
Diesel's very much a footnote in Kevin Nash's story.
And I haven't looked into how many people they're asking for this. I know it ends in exactly a month after the campaign launched. Hopefully they'll get the backers for the people who do seem to be excited about this, but me personally, I'm just not interested in this whatsoever. Especially because like the whole gimmick of, oh, you can pull back the canvas and expose the boards. I find myself going like, granted, I'm incredibly unfamiliar with this era, but did they ever pull back and knock people onto boards during the new generation era?
I
I
don't
think
think
that's
so.
a fairly recent thing.
That or Attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I can see it in an Attitude set, but honestly, if you're focusing on that gimmick of a playset, make it a takeover ring
Yeah.
and put
But they've
Gargano and
already done a
Ciampa.
but they've already done a bajillion takeover rings. That's the problem.
But
It's just
looks
it's
good, but it doesn't look like it should be.
yeah, it's a classic Mattel Bill McKenna idea of like, okay, that's neat, but I don't know if it's worth what you're asking for it, and also it's slightly inaccurate because you want it to be more toyetic.
Right.
I don't know. It's a weird thing, and I don't particularly love bashing on Mattel. For the large part, I do think they do some good stuff. It's just like this is such a weird thing to be lauding as your first crowd-funded project for this
And
line.
here's the thing, Mattel. Let's step away from wrestling. Mattel is about to embark on probably one of the biggest brand refreshes of one of their most major IPs. Why the hell aren't they doing a full-scale Castle Grayskull crowdfunded campaign playset?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like right there. They're about to start He-Man. They're about to really start this media blitz, and they could have gotten a lot of cool goodwill from the fans of going like, "Hey, by the way, boom, major project, Castle Grayskull. What do you think about that?"
There's a part of me that thinks they probably do have plans for that, but they're holding off until they're absolutely sure the Kevin Smith show is well liked.
Then don't base it off the Kevin Smith show. Base it off the fucking cartoon, the classic cartoon.
There's already like they literally just put out one of those last year. They put out one of those for Origins.
Put it the scale. What's the scale of the new
7-inch.
7-inch ones? Put it out for that.
Yeah, the Masterverse.
Uh huh.
Yeah, I agree. I would love a Masterverse Castle Grayskull. I think that would be a great way to make a centerpiece for that line. And again, I'm sure they have plans for it. It's just they're probably waiting until they're absolutely sure this show does gangbusters.
And what other goddamn IPs does Mattel have at this point?
I'm trying to remember. I think they have Jurassic Park. That's either them or that's I can't remember if that's
Here's the
them
thing:
or Jazzware.
you can get any other dinosaur toy off the toy shelf and tell your kid, "Oh, it's Jurassic Park," and they'll be fucking happy.
Mhm. And also they have this little thing called Barbie.
Right, Barbie's a thing. But
That's the thing you got to remember. Mattel wants to do boys' toys, but at the end of the day, Barbie is their core brand.
we were also forgetting one of the major things,
What's that?
and Cody's gonna kick our ass for forgetting it. Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah, I forget they're the parent company for that because for the most part, Hot Wheels kind of does its own thing.
Yeah, it does its own thing, but they are owned by Mattel.
Yeah.
That's how the whole thing works. I say as I have several Hot Wheels sitting behind me.
And I have one Hot Wheel in a tote in a room way over there.
Dude, I have 3 Hot Wheels of the same ass car.
No, I had a ton of Hot Wheels as a kid. This is getting way off topic. I had a ton of Hot Wheels as a kid, but I just sold them all off one garage sale because I was like, I'm done with these. And that's the one time I've done something like that that I genuinely still don't regret. I'm just like, yeah, that was probably the right decision.
I mean,
Hot Wheels collectors can kind of be weirdos.
I've shown you my
Cody's all right, but a lot of Hot Wheels collectors are weirdos.
I've shown you my Honda City Turbos, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, Honda. Honda.
Mario Honda.
Should we actually get back to wrestling news?
That is totally something we could do because, apparently. Okay, before we go into this, I want to say something.
Mm-hmm.
Because here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think either of us have really watched any WWE in almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to dip in and out. If I see something interesting, I'll give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But here's my kind of general rule right now. WWE needs to have a full good week of programming in order to win me back. They need to have a good pay-per-view, a good Raw, a good NXT, a good NXT UK, a good SmackDown, and have that be it. There needs to be a full good week of everybody telling me that every show was good.
So you're forgetting some things. 205 Live and main event.
Yeah. Main event doesn't fucking count.
It counted at the beginning. Remember, CM Punk was on it.
Yeah, well, okay. 205, yes. I did like 205 for a little bit there, so I'll lump them in. But, like, needs to have a full good week of programming where everybody says unanimously, like, yeah, maybe I had a few nitpicks, but overall this show was good for every show. Then I will give that is the point where I will sit down and watch a full WWE show again. And the thing is, the next week that I start watching again also has to be a full good week of programming for them to win me back. That's where I'm at mentally at the moment.
Yeah.
So this Sunday, Money in the Bank happened. And by all reports, it was pretty dang good. It was a pretty fun show. All the matches were really solid. There was some new and inventive stuff in the ladder matches. The Roman storylines were as juicy as ever. Some pretty good picks for Mr. and Miss Money in the Bank. You had Big E and Nikki Ash, the former Nikki Cross, and also a little man named Jonathan Cena returned and
I didn't
started
see
a
him.
program. Yeah, you can miss that guy easily, but
Yeah, it's really easy. Sometimes you just can't see him.
yeah, but he came back and started a program with Roman that's supposed to run on and off into SummerSlam. And I was like, all right, that's pretty good news. Let's see how Raw does.
I'm laughing because I know what happened in Raw. Vaguely.
Yeah. So here's what I'll start off with. I'll start off with the positive from this episode of Raw.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And granted, all this information is secondhand. / I watched a couple clips.
Right.
The negative thing from Money in the Bank, by all accounts, it was a good match, but Charlotte beat Rhea again and became the new Raw Women's Champion. But they evidently did that because they didn't want to take heat off Rhea too much, because the next night they had a rematch, and during it, Nikki Ash cashed in and became your new Raw Women's Champion.
Yeah,
and I think that's super cool.
I saw Big Damo tweet and Instagram that out, and he was so proud. I was just like, "Yeah, Big Damo, be proud of your girl."
Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing: I don't care for the Nikki Ash gimmick. I think it's stupid. I think it's kind of silly, but it's not for me. It's for kids, and we need shit for kids to get kids into wrestling.
Right.
Otherwise, there won't be people my age talking about wrestling in 20 years. So it's not for me, but I respect it. And the fact that they're getting behind it, I think, is a good thing.
And even then, the gimmick has legs. It's just the legs are walking in a direction I think older fans are going like, eh.
That's not what I wanted for that performer.
But it's also like, it's not a bad gimmick. A person who goes like, you know what, I want to be a fucking superhero. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm. And you also got to remember, evidently, she pitched that, and Vince approved it. So if it was her idea, who's to tell her, no, that's fucking stupid, don't do that?
And it's always seemed like Nikki Cross was more of that kind of goofy person in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So this is probably more true to her general attitude towards life and stuff. So
Yeah. But then evidently, okay, so let's talk about the big thing. Karrion Kross, current NXT champion.
mm-hmm.
I've not met the fellow. I've not watched the fellow perform.
Yeah.
But I've heard tremendous things about him, and apparently he was Hunter's pet project for the last few years. He was made an example out of because he comes out, doesn't have his proper entrance, doesn't have his valet with him, and on his fucking birthday, Jeff Hardy returns, gets his old music back, has a big fucking bombastic amazing entrance compared to him, and then pins him in less than 5 minutes.
For the NXT title, right?
Nope, non-title match, but still, you just buried your NXT champion against a guy who's like twice his age.
Also, remember that they also buried NXT in in-house management calls or whatever it was. Is going like, no, NXT is definitely developmental, not a third brand. And it's just like,
yeah, and that's the place they're at mentally. Like Karrion Kross was made an example out of because in Vince's mind, NXT lost the Wednesday Night War, so they're no longer worth his time.
Yep.
Which is real fucking sad and real fucking embarrassing. And then evidently all the other shit that happened on Raw, I don't know exact details, but all the other shit that happened on Raw, everybody has told me was just the same boring, middling bullshit that they do every week and have been doing every week since the pandemic really got into its stride. The pandemic era got into its stride. WWE, I had hope for one night. I really did enjoy seeing all the news and reactions to Money in the Bank come in, but swing and a miss. Maybe next time, champ.
How could you do that to Chris Jericho's poor baby child?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
You do know
what we gotta
you
do
know the joke I'm making, right?
Oh yeah, that's the other thing is Money in the Bank is Chris Jericho's idea originally, and they tried to credit it to another guy on commentary during the show.
Oh,
like they didn't outright say it, but they said this guy, I forget who they said, but some other guy kind of was one of the architects of the idea. And it's like every other time they've talked about Money in the Bank, it's been like, oh yeah, Chris Jericho came up with this.
Oh, I bet Chris Jericho sent a text to fucking Vince.
Mm-hmm. But speaking of texting, you know who's been doing a lot of texting back and forth?
Some major companies, eh?
Apparently impacting just every other fucking company because Slammiversary had tons of fucking debuts and surprises and shenanigans. You had Thunder Rosa running in for a quick women's title match. You had Chelsea Green returning as the Hot Mess. You had Mickie James showing up to invite Deonna Purrazzo to her indie ladies thing that she's working on. And you had the former No Way Jose, now just No Way, showing up. And unless I'm forgetting anyone, the biggest thing of all was one Jay White himself walking out and confronting the Super Elite after the main event, and them extending a 2-sweet to him, and him just standing there as the show went off the air. And then via fan cam, we saw after the show went off the air that he never got to respond one way or the other because the people Kenny had been fighting just immediately started attacking all of them.
Damn. Ah, man. Bullet Club, the Elite. Come on.
It's happening. Slowly but surely, it's happening, brother. God, I'm excited.
Because it's such a fascinating, like, little microcosm of, like, just the faction. It's very interesting because the Elite's always been the goofy, oh, we get heat by being dicks. We get heat by being jackass, essentially. Well, the Bullet Club is, no, we just cheat to win. That's what we do.
Yeah.
That's it. We don't need any of the fucking razzle dazzle. That's you.
The Elite are silly assholes. The Bullet Club are serious assholes.
Right. It's just interesting to see. Interesting to see.
Yeah.
But speaking of,
but you know what else might be? You know what else might be interesting to see?
Okay, so past 2 days, there's been a bubbling in the wrestling ether. I will say rumor. Some people say confirmation. Some people go...
Look, in my honest opinion, it's not confirmed until somebody shows up on a TV program or a pay-per-view event.
Right, true. I agree with that, but I do put weight into SRS's words.
That's fair.
You know? Okay, so basically, the rumor has gone about that one Bryan Danielson and one Chick Magnet Punk. Remember, that's what CM originally stood for.
Yeah.
Have been in talks and have signed with AEW.
With the additional bit of information being that Bryan will be debuting at the Arthur Ashe Stadium show.
There's that, but like, there's also the rumor that CM Punk will be in and about Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Because that's where All Out is, right?
That's where All Out and the Dynamite before All Out is. Okay.
I'd have him show up at All Out.
I'd have him show up at the Dynamite before. I agree with
do? Immediately put him into a match at All Out?
No, but you go like, oh, what's going to happen now at All Out? He's now a variable in the thing, and people go like, oh, I didn't know he might be in the pay-per-view. If he's going to definitely be in the pay-per-view, I guess I'll buy it. Works for buy rights.
You know what I would love to happen, but I don't think will, given the real-life situation?
Mm-hmm.
He runs in during a segment involving Colt Cabana, and they just stare down and then hug.
If things have fixed real life, I wouldn't mind that, but I haven't heard anything about that being the case in real life and shoot and everything. But
like, far be it from me to tell two adult men what to do, but I really hope, if this is true, I really hope they try and reconcile things backstage.
Yeah, and especially with the environment of AEW, that might be more likely than not.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, the Daniel Bryan thing is a rumor all on its own. Different people are talking about it. I'm not sure where that one got started. No, yes. I'm trying to remember which one did which, because one person was Body Slam. That's who it was. It was a person from Body Slam. Said one of them was possibly signed, and Sean Ross Sapp basically went, I haven't heard anything specific, but I wouldn't go against them and their sources. Essentially, like, I ain't saying yes, but I ain't saying no.
And also, you gotta remember, a couple weeks ago, Meltzer mentioned on an episode of Wrestling Observer Radio that he just had a feeling that something big might be happening at Arthur Ashe Stadium.
Yeah. And Dana Bryanson would be I can't fucking remember. It's the dumbest way to make
Brian Danielson. We're gonna have to get used to calling him Brian.
Brian Danielson.
His name is Brian Danielson.
His name is Brian Danielson. Brian Danielson. At least CM Punk's gonna be the fucking same.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Danielson. If what the rumors are true, is that the major point was he wanted to work New Japan.
And WWE couldn't get that deal worked out.
But AEW already has that deal.
Mm-hmm.
They have that deal with New Japan, with Impact, with CMLL. No, AAA. The AAA.
Mm-hmm.
NWA. All those things. Over under, how much do you
All the
think?
bigger promotions working together to kill Vince.
Over under, CM Punk in AEW, Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson in AEW. What do you think on each one?
What do you mean? Like, do I think it's happening or do I want it?
Like 50%, 70%. How much? What's your gut feeling on it? How do you feel about it?
I
Because I
mean,
know my answer is like, yeah, I'd like them to be there because, yeah, cool, like right under Christian Cage age veterans that can lead a lot of fucking um clout to the newer generation. Hell yeah.
well, here's the thing. So I think there's a lot to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, CM Punk in general. CM Punk
Mm-hmm.
is somebody that we've all been saying should go to AEW from the start. And we've heard over and over again rumors about, oh, he might be going to AEW. Oh, he apparently had talks with AEW at one point. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And now certain outlets are saying, oh, it's a done deal. He's going, it's happening. And I'm like, feels too good. Feels too real to be true. You know, feels too good to be real. That kind of a thing.
Right.
And like, I'll obviously flip my fucking shit when and if he comes out.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I need to carry over to Bryan Danielson, who is a wrestler who I would actually say I like more than Punk these days. Because while I love the Summer of Punk, I think it's one of the best storylines ever. I can't really think of another Punk storyline I really love because I haven't watched Straight Edge Society in full or anything like that. However, Daniel Bryan, I can think of like 3 or 4 storylines of his I really love. So I would be super excited to see him in AEW. I think he would be a huge asset to them in a way that CM Punk wouldn't, which is that Daniel Bryan has always been a guy who's like, yeah, I love wrestling. I love talking to people about wrestling. I love being a team player. I love helping other guys get over. CM Punk talks about other guys needing to get over with him, but there's not a lot of backstage stories of it. And I'm not trying to say he's a secret asshole, but there's just not that kind of credibility in that department that Bryan Danielson has.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also just an overarching thing with both of them of this roster is fucking bloated already. Where the hell are they going to put them?
They do have a new show coming out soon.
That's true, and we've heard about them acquiring backstage talent for that, but like, are you really going to go, oh, here's our new show? The two leads of it are 2 former WWE guys.
I don't think that's what would happen. I think Rampage and Dynamite would be switching talent a lot more often than one might think. But what I think, I am much more confident in Bryan Danielson coming to AEW than CM Punk.
Same, because like he's been gone from WWE pretty definitively for a while, and we've had consistent updates about his backstage thing. Like, here's the thing with Bryan Danielson that there isn't with CM Punk. I talked about all the inconsistency and how it's been a very back and forth, kind of all over the place rumor thing with Punk.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a consistent story with Danielson because it was he had his last match in WWE, then we heard he was in talks. Then there was the whole thing about WWE and New Japan talking to each other. And then Tony Khan did that epic fucking promo, and all of that shit died out for like months. And then just now this week, we hear Bryan Danielson is going to AEW because he wants to work with New Japan, and they're the company that can pay him the amount of money he needs and get that deal done.
Right.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. And I would love to see him there. I think the big thing about CM Punk is there's a thing we haven't talked about is there were, like we say, there was back and forth. CM Punk says there were texts and like some conversations and a meeting or two. And then Cody goes like, no, it was more than, there was like there was figures, there was 2 years of creative laid out, storylines planned. Like it was not a simple here like do you want to do it kind of offer. It was no, here's money, here's the plan of what we would do with you. Like I'm not saying CM Punk's a flake, and I'm not, because that's not a flaky attitude. That's just more of like, oh yeah, no, it's just we kind of talked, that kind of thing, and just, Cody was like, we did more than talk.
Because that's just a difference in attitude between those two guys.
Yeah, it's a difference in attitude, but like it's that difference in attitude that makes me just go like, is there more
Would
there?
Would you be a good fit there though?
Would he like? He'd be a good fit there stylistically, good fit there storytelling wise. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. If he didn't go through the WWE cynical wringing out of his love of pro wrestling, yeah, he'd be a perfect fit for AEW. You know? Like, early era Punk, fuck yeah, bring him into AEW. He'd be amazing. Current Punk, who has been through WWE, been through all that bullshit, and it's just
burnt out, soul crushed, ring rusted, out of shape. Fucking.
Here's the thing: if they want to bring in CM Punk and have him be in like a Taz or a Sting kind of role, you know what? I'd be fucking down for that. That'd be dope.
I just had a hilarious thought. Sting and CM Punk, Darby's two gay dads.
I mean, Darby is straight edge.
Uh-huh.
Oh man, but
no, like
I'd say about 70% that Bryan Danielson's coming to AEW. I'm at about 55% on CM Punk.
But like, as far as creative goes, should these, let's say hypothetically, should these guys show up in AEW? What do I want them to do? They don't wrestle any more WWE guys. No former WWE guys for these two.
Nope.
The only exception I would allow is a freeway between the two of them and Cody. Mm-hmm. Reunite that FCW class just for one night. Let them have some fun together. Be like, remember when we were young? Yeah, you used to be able to do that way faster, kind of a thing. Yeah, and then move the fuck on. CM Punk, he has promos off with MJF like you wouldn't fucking believe.
MJF, Eddie Kingston, Taz.
He's the fucking sounding board for every good promo in AEW. He's the benchmark you need to measure yourself against. Mm-hmm. Daniel Bryan, anyone who we've said is like has phenomenal potential and is already really good in the ring, same thing. Every young wrestler who needs a good coach right now, give them a couple matches with Daniel Bryan, Brian Danielson, and blah blah blah.
Yeah. I can agree with that. There's also the aspect of like, should they be in feuds or should they be in marquee special event matches?
I think, given everything that I said about him a few minutes ago, I think Punk should be a marquee special event. Bryan Danielson, you can go either way.
Yeah. Because I can imagine just like, because all CM Punk would need to hype up a match would be like 3 promos and 3 Dynamites upcoming to the pay-per-view. That's about it.
Yeah, and they don't even have to be back-to-back. You could space them out real good.
Yeah. And let the other person bounce off of them and have promos there. I'm not saying I would be ecstatic to see both of them. It's just very much like fool me once with CM Punk kind of thing. I'm much more confident in Bryan Danielson.
And here's the other thing about CM Punk. As much as I want him, I want fucking AJ Lee. I want him to bring his wife to work. Yeah. Please.
That'd be, I mean, come on. Even if she became like the Christian Cage of the women's division, that kind of like elder statesman, veteran kind of role, that'd be fine.
Yeah. Not the Bellas though. Keep them far the fuck away. Just let Daniel's sugar mommies be way over there.
Yeah. His wife and sister-in-law.
Yeah. But I think that's everything I have to say on that.
Yeah, it's until we know more, we can't say more. What that nonsense phrase? That's just.
And now all that's left to do is for me to try and remember what the fuck happened on BTE 265, good old fashioned extortion, and Sammy Blog 329 dark offer.
Hey, real quick, why don't we also talk about Ethan Page's Jacksonville vlog that I posted on my server?
I haven't watched that one yet.
Okay, it was pretty simple. It's just pretty simple. Ethan Page went to a toy store up in Jacksonville, Florida, that me and Cody's been in. Me and Snowcone from the rest of the channel, you probably heard him and seen him and heard his poop story.
Yeah. His spectacular poop story, which I'm going to check the view count on right now.
He regrets telling the story now.
6.3K.
Oh boy, he really regrets telling that story now.
Uh-huh.
But no, that place is cool. It's a cool little shop. Really good comics and everything. Like, they were right that it's basically you go in and it just continues. Like, you look to the right and goes like, oh, there's more stuff. Oh, there's more stuff. Oh, there's more stuff.
Yeah, and I don't know if you said actually, it was because Smart Mark talked about it on the Major Pod, I think a week or two ago is when they shot it. But it was Paige, Smart Mark, and then
Alex Reynolds and Evil Uno.
Okay, I was trying to remember if there was another Dark Order member besides them. But yeah, it's quite the posse. Yeah. And apparently, that's a thing I've been learning a lot this week. Because I've been listening to a lot of recent wrestling interviews at work. There's a lot of wrestlers who are like closeted toy fanatics that don't wear it on their sleeve like Cardona does. Like your boy Malachi, he's fucking obsessed with Transformers.
Hell yeah, boy!
He talked about that on that Drinks with Johnny episode I sent you.
I started that and I need to finish it. Also, I didn't know one of the dudes from Avenged Sevenfold has a talk show. What the fuck?
Yeah, Darby was on it. Darby and Priscilla back when they were together.
Oh, that's nice. But no, like, also there's a thing in the vlog. Ethan Page looked at a thing and it's like, oh, is this the bargain wall? And it's like, no, that was the retro toy wall from toys of like the 90s. That was one of my favorite parts of the store because it was just like, I found like a reboot toy there. I think maybe a Mighty Duck.
It's also interesting because I watched another toy hunting vlog of his from a couple weeks ago with Smart Mark. It's interesting how like he knows a lot about some things and then other things he's completely oblivious to. Like he's super into Power Ranger toys. He knows the nitty gritty of those and like he has the entire Lightning collection so far. But then wrestling figures, he was looking at like a brand new Razor Ramon that came out earlier this year and he's like, whoa, that's amazing. I've never seen that before. And Smart Mark's like, yeah, that's brand new. It's been on the shelves for a few months. It's not that exciting.
I mean, hey, there's toys that you would do that with. There's stuff I would do that with, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I also watched Dan Hausen do the entire Villains wave on Marvel Legends.
Oh yeah, Dan. I've been getting. I don't know if I've talked about it on the show, but I have been getting way into Dan Hausen's YouTube channel. I haven't watched a lot of his matches, but I've been really enjoying his YouTube channel because he has just such a great personality and character going. Like it was literally one of those things where I was like, son of a bitch, he figured it out. He figured out the wrestling YouTube toy reviewer weirdo gimmick that I was trying to figure out like a year ago and then gave up on.
Yeah. Very nice, very evil.
The video where he goes to Pro Wrestling Tees is especially good because it's just him commenting on other people's merch and saying silly names for them. Like he calls CM Punk Pepsi Man.
Yeah. No, I started watching the video where he was talking to Lance Archer and he just called him Murder Bird. And Lance Archer's face is like, Murder Bird? Okay. It was hilarious. No, I watched one of the Dan Housen's match. It was a Ring of Honor match. It was pretty good.
Yeah, him and some other like older weirdo indie guy have been teaming together in Ring of Honor, and that's been.
It wasn't
cool.
a tag; it was a singles match. It was.
Was it from the recent pay-per-view?
No, it wasn't from a pay-per-view. I think it was from a TV taping. Might have been from a pay-per-view. The set looked too big for their TV tapings.
Were there or were there not fans?
No fans.
Okay, then it was TV.
Okay.
Because right now, through the end of the year, Ring of Honor is only having fans at pay-per-views.
Out of all the companies that do that, I'm surprised it's Ring of Honor being that safe.
No, like they had this whole thing where like wrestlers were going out of their way to say like, no, Ring of Honor is really fucking taking care of us. They have an incredible COVID bubble. Like full on, you get here a week before the show and you quarantine in a hotel. And we booked out an entire hotel next to where we're taping TV just for our talent.
Yeah, no, but because you know who owns Ring of Honor.
Sinclair.
Yeah, and you know what Sinclair is. It's a conservative fucking TV network hub.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just weird.
But I get the feeling Sinclair is like very hands off with Ring of Honor, or at least they are right now.
Yeah, but no, tell me about BTE and Sammy.
Well, what I can remember from Sammy's blog is that Sammy tried to actually make a deal with the Dark Order to get them to join his vlog, and they literally just spit in his face and were like, "No, your vlog fucking sucks. Five's the main character. Fuck that guy. We're out of here." And like John Silver made fun of him to his face. And also there's it's just a lot of Sammy and the boys hanging out right now. A lot of just like, we're just trying to have a good time because we don't know how much longer Fuego is going to be able to keep up with us, kind of a thing.
Right.
And there was also a hilarious thing where, so Dustin Rhodes and Fuego del Sol have had a bit on Sammy's vlog forever, where Dustin Rhodes is like a delusional old man who thinks Fuego del Sol is his actual son and is like giving him pep talks after his matches because he always loses. And last week there was a whole thing where Dustin got confused and like ran into Fuego's actual dad, or I think that was actually a few weeks ago. And this week he goes up to Griff Garrison and starts doing the gimmick, and Fuego's like, "Dad, I'm over here. It's me, Dad. It's me." It's like, "You're not my son anymore. You betrayed me. You went with that other guy." And that was pretty funny. And then trying to remember what the fuck happened on BTE because Monday was like an eon ago. Apologies, folks. I'm starting first week at a new job, so there's a lot going through my head this week. I can remember it was good, but I don't remember like what specifically was good because I remember there was like one central thing with the Elite I really dug.
Does it have any major story complications?
No, because it's mostly just it's focusing in on the Elite right now and being like, we kicked the Dark Order off. We're back to being a travel blog. Watch us do diggish heel shit. Like I do remember it opened with them going to a shopping mall and like looking at sneakers. But
I mean, if you can't remember it, don't stress yourself out. We can just take a quick little break, take some piss.
Oh, I just fucking remembered. Hilarious bit where Kenny is trying to shave off his facial hair with a plastic knife and fork.
Oh.
And then he gets called out. Oh, the big thing from this episode
that
everybody was freaking out over. Trevor and Arthur returned.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And they're apparently backstage talent for Rampage, and so they were chewing out the Jackson boys.
Do you want to explain to the audience who Arthur and the other one is?
I mean, if you watch BTE, you know who Trevor and Arthur is, and if you don't, you should really just watch BTE, or you should I don't know, maybe wait till next spring when I might be doing something to help you out with the fact that you haven't watched BTE. But
oh god, you gotta remind me that I gotta fucking actually finish the outline for Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's so much new stuff I have to talk about.
You know that, like, don't worry. Don't feel bad, because you know that thing I have to have ready for No Prize this weekend? It's only half done. I have to write out the other half of it tomorrow morning.
Boy, oh boy, oh.
We've
talked about what these bits are before, so we can just... Why are we being coy? I'm eventually going to do an entire lecture on the Marvel Universe, beginning, middle, and end, everything.
The cosmology of it.
Yep. Should I structure it like I'm a preacher and this is a religion? Should that be a joke?
I mean, as long as you're not constantly doing it.
I'll do it once. And on No Prize, our weekly Marvel-focused general comic book show.
The way I describe it is it's a show focused on the MCU that branches out into general comics talk.
So it's Marvel focused, but like we'll talk about other stuff. We're doing a 2-part series where basically we pitch our idea of how we run the comic book company that we love. Vac loves DC. I love the Marvel. And so that's just kind of how it is. Vac's going to be doing DC, and you'll be able to see that on Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about Dynamite after we take a quick break because I have a full bladder. I don't know about Vac. I can't feel his bladder.
Do you need me to take it out and show it to you?
No, but we can go to the bathroom. See you in a bit, folks.
Sounds like.
And we're back. We're back, Vac?
Yes, let's decide who leads on Dynamite.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Got scissors.
Hey, yeah. AEW Dynamite 7/21/2021 Fighter Fest Night 2 from the Cortis Colwell Center in Garland, Texas.
Tejas?
The state that just made it illegal to teach that the KKK is morally bad. So
Yeah.
Anyway, your opening contest this evening is Demo God Chris Jericho versus the Chairman Sean Spears with Tully Blanchard in Labors of Jericho Match 1. chairs.
You're making
This
that
match was pretty good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was classic working of a very simple premise of just like, oh, Chris Jericho can't use chairs.
It was kind of a basic match that you've seen a bunch of places before, but these guys did a good job with it, and I think MJF on commentary did a lot to carry it. MJF was phenomenal on commentary tonight.
The only thing I would have a minor complaint of is Jericho. It feels like Jericho took one too many headshots. I was not a fan of that.
Yeah, that one where Sean just kind of tosses the chair at him, and he goes doing. That was oof. That was oof for doof.
Yeah. It's just one too many. I'm fine with it. Was fine for a couple because I could see they were trying to protect Jericho and do all that kind of stuff. They were trying their best to be protective, but it's just like it's one too many. But no, I really enjoyed it. MJF did fucking add a ton.
Like all kinds of great little jokes and stabs, and constantly going like, "No, I don't even think Chris is gonna make it past Sean. He's fine. Don't worry. I don't even have to worry about facing him." And they're like, "Are you scared of Jericho?" And he's like, "Why would I be fucking scared of Jericho? I beat him twice."
Yeah, they're very, very classic heel shit. But eventually, Jericho does win by being the clever babyface and using a chair without using a chair by throwing Shawn Spears into a chair held up by the turnbuckles.
Yeah. And then he hits a Judas effect on him and pins and wins the match, moves on to the second labor. And MJF gets on the mic and comes down to the entranceway and brings up the fact that Tully Blanchard tried to interfere, distract the referee at one point in the match. Sammy Guevara came out to a huge pop and pulled Tully off the apron.
They're still in Texas. They're still in Texas.
Mm-hmm. And MJF says like, "Oh, that's great. You got a lot of help. You got a lot of help there though from Sammy to Simp. So why don't we make it so from now on, no more interference or you automatically lose. And also, since you like gerrymandering the rules there, how about next week we have no rules? How about next week we have a no disqualification match?" And you know who's really fucking good at no disqualification match? You know who's somebody who can just take a licking and keep on ticking? You know who's one of the craziest, sickest motherfuckers alive in wrestling today? Well, I hope you do, because he's your opponent next week, Chris.
No. Hold on. The part leading up to that was so fucking good. This man stabbed a person in the jugular. This man
was
robbed
legally dead
for 8 minutes. This man robbed a bank with no mask.
And literally, I went like, stabbed in the jugular. That sounds familiar. Illegally dead for 8 minutes. Oh shit, is that what I found? No mask. Oh my god. And literally right as the music hits, I stood up out of my chair and I'm like, there he is. It's Nick fucking Gage.
MDK motherfuckers. So
I love how on Twitter the next day, the AEW Twitter was like, "Oh, MJF has aligned himself with Nick Gage. Could he be joining the Pinnacle after next week's match?" And MJF quote retweeted it and goes, "Let's get one thing straight here. I am not aligned with this man. He is a hired gun. He's going to collect a paycheck after he kills Jericho next week, and then I am never speaking to him again."
And then hey man, do you have any weed? You're not supposed to be smoking weed. Right, I forgot. Sorry.
Also, nice attention to detail. Gage did not come out with the GCW championship around his waist because he's probably well aware that this Saturday at GCW Homecoming, Matt Cardona is going to beat him and become the new GCW World Champion.
You're on that train, bud.
You know me. I'm all about that MDK life. I'm a major D12 collector.
Mm-hmm. But Jesus fucking okay. So I'm gonna be completely honest because it was MJF cutting the promo. So he comes down and goes like, "Oh, sadistic motherfucker." I'm like, okay, who? Who's it gonna be? Whatever. My first thought was like, oh, he's gonna introduce Wardlow because they're gonna run through the Pinnacle, all that kind of stuff. And then he said, oh, he stabbed a man in the jugular, and I was like, no, because my first thought was, oh, is he talking about Nick Gage, David Arquette? No, it can't be Nick Gage. And then he said, like, oh, dead for 8 minutes. I'm like, he's definitely not talking about fucking Nick Gage, because it's MJF. And MJF will lie to get heat, and this is a work. This is a motherfucking work. They are not about to put Nick fucking Gage on my TV.
Just comes out.
And then he goes, robs a bank with no mask. I'm going like, motherfucker, it's Nick Gage? And then the pizza cutter man came down. I was like, ah! Mm-hmm. Jesus fucking Christ.
AEW, man, if you've got the it factor, they'll give you a shot.
They'll give you a shot. And it's probably real beneficial that fucking Moxley and Kingston are there to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, you know they're like babysitting him at all times backstage.
But it's also like half...
I thought of that earlier today, and I immediately jumped to the conclusion of like, they're not going to sign him.
No.
But I would love it if they signed him and immediately put those three guys together as a faction.
But I definitely feel like Moxley wouldn't be babysitting him because he's worried of what would happen. He's babysitting him to make sure Nick Gage doesn't fuck himself over more than anything. He's worried about Nick Gage, not what Nick Gage will do to others. Yeah,
and same thing with Eddie. You know, Eddie cares about people more than pretty much any talent I've ever seen backstage video of. So, like...
See, here's the thing. If Eddie Kingston was in charge of Wrestlers Court, I would have no problem with it.
Yeah, sure. Eddie, go ahead and make your own Wrestlers Court in AEW. You have our permission.
Don't. It's still a backwards archaic practice. But, like, I'm just saying, like, you hear the stories of Undertaker and Laurinaitis? No. JBL. Fucking controlling Wrestlers Court back in the day. And it's god-awful. It's horrible. But I go, like, if Eddie Kingston's in control of it, it's probably a lot more fair. Even keeled. That's where I'll put it. But no, fucking a little under, but I got about the same reaction from Nick Gage coming out as Malachi.
Wow.
Because it was just like I did not expect it. It was just like fuck yeah, this guy.
I mean, admittedly, it is a pretty huge swerve because like. We were booking like, oh yeah, they should get random guys from the indies, or they should book him. And Wrestle Talk said they should book him against the rest of the inner circle, and so like they go the obvious route. No, it's Sean for the first one, so it's just going to be the whole Pinnacle. But then they swerve you because I dead ass like you. I was thinking Wardlow for a second there, and then like as soon as Nick Gage comes out, I'm like, all bets are off. We could get fucking Okada for the last match for all we know.
I don't think if they're going to get a New Japan guy, I don't think it's going to be Okada. I think it'd be Tanahashi. Because he has much more history with Tanahashi.
Yeah. But like also, how many more matches are there after Gage?
2.
Okay.
Because MJF said the 5th labor would be he himself.
Okay. So I'm thinking... New Japan guys, so definitely Tanahashi would be
or Suzuki. I say Tanahashi or Suzuki.
Okay, well, if you're giving me the choice, I'm going to say Suzuki. Because that's just going to be a way more interesting match.
Yeah.
But, like, as far as, like, another random guy we could get, you know who I want?
Huh.
Nick Aldis.
That'd be cool. That'd be a cool get.
A blast. A metaphorical blast from Jericho's past. Because him and Aldis don't have a lot of history, but Aldis represents Jericho's past. The wrestling Jericho grew up on.
What about Lance Archer? Have one last match.
I could see that.
Just throwing it out here. I'm not saying it should or should not be. Danhausen.
Dude. Like, he's having a lot of fun. He's one of the most over people in ROH right now. But God, would I love Danhausen to come to AEW.
God, I just imagining all the segments on BTE with him.
Just imagine like he immediately starts trying to take over the Dark Order, and he's like a Saturday morning cartoon villain to him, to them, constantly getting just rebuffed and beaten on crazy schemes.
Ah, man. Dark Order Hausen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Nick Gage, fucking sick. Nice to see.
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh,
do you want me to just take the next two because the first one's just kind of a short little segment?
yeah, definitely, definitely.
Miro cut a promo, just again saying like, "Yo, I'm awesome. God loves me.
I'm still here. Things are still happening with me. I just don't have a proper segment this week. Don't worry.
Don't worry. I'm here. I'm dope. I have a hot wife.
I have a cool belt.
I have cool Bulgarian belt." Um, the next match we have though is between the Elite Hunter Frankie Kazarian and Doc Gallows. This is a fun, kind of just like rough and tumble match.
But it was okay.
I'm not saying bad. I'm not saying it's great. I'm just saying it's fun. It's fine.
Yeah, it's really not my style, is the thing. Because you're
Mm-hmm.
right, it's very rough and tumble. It's very kind of, it's borderline strong style without the kind of showiness of strong style.
It's one step below Big Beefy Hoss.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing for me is it's just a gear behind what I'm used to.
Yeah, but eventually Doc Gallows does get the pin after a power bomb, after a lot of chicanery too, the
Mhm.
work over Frankie Kazarian, and then the Elite come out to cut a promo to basically go like, "Ha, Frankie, you're a loser. Ha." It looks and great bit
Yeah,
from
they
Kenny
literally
Omega.
say he's been like a thorn in their side for months,
Like
which,
pure
yeah, that's the point.
Saturday morning cartoon villainy. Great line from Kenny, basically saying like, "Yeah, it looks like the Elite Hunter became
Gone.
line hunted, hunted."
And I was literally like, really? You went for hunted when you could have said prey? The hunter became the prey. God, Kenny, Jesus. And that is the point. I'm not saying like I didn't get the point, but
Yeah,
like
yeah. This is a fun thing. But then the Dark Order and Hangman run out and go like, "Yo, don't beat a Frankie. No,
he's a nice man. He has children.
he has kids.
Yeah, you didn't know Frankie is married and
No,
has kids?
no, no, no. He has kids."
Oh yes, yes. Heath Slater does exist.
I don't know why that's making me giggle. Don't fucking do that. That's weird. Don't fucking with your eyebrow looking mustache. I'm surprised that didn't get you with anything.
I know what I look like.
You look like you have two sets of eyebrows. So Dasha Gonzalez talked to Brian Cage.
She sure did.
Yeah. We also got confirmation that Ricky Starks is going to have an FTW celebration. And Brian Cage goes like, "Oh, interesting, interesting, very, very interesting. I will see you next week." You okay, bud?
That segment had all the subtlety of this costume.
Oh, it did. But it's a fine segment. I liked it. It was fine.
Yeah, this is okay. It did its job.
It did its job.
But after that, we had Wheeler Yuta with ya boy Orange Cassidy versus Darby Allin with Sting in a nice little showcase match. Nice
Yeah.
little bit of filler showcase for the young boys.
Yeah, for
Um,
Wheeler getting some nice little offense in. Darby getting the win to
Wheeler is growing on me. I am starting to dig his look a little bit because it's different than a lot of other guys in the AEW. He's got a sort of kind of sophisticated yet grizzledness to him.
yeah. It's not often that you see a Japanese wrestler with a full beard.
Mm-hmm. Um, And I would be remiss if I did not talk about my new favorite version of the Orange Cassidy kick spot.
Oh
Like,
man,
dead ass,
brutal
I was
kicks,
losing
brutal
it.
kicks.
Yeah, because it's fucking him and Sting doing it to each other, and then Sting doing a version of his old chest taunt that's just T-Rex arms. It's beautiful.
Oh man, I love how Sting is just fully embracing the new generation of pro wrestlers.
Uh-huh.
It's just really nice.
Mhm. But the match does eventually win with Darby pinning after a coffin drop, and then the Blade very quickly runs out and hits Orange Cassidy with a set of brass knuckles to set up their match later in the night.
Nice and nice. Then we didn't get a promo between Mox and Archer about their history in New Japan, basically bringing the AEW crowd up to speed with the New Japan lore, and also just building up hype for the match later on this evening. Do you want me to take the next one?
Go for it.
We then have the Native Beast, Nyla Rose, with Vicky Guerrero versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, with Reba Not Rebel for the AEW Women's Championship. I thought this was pretty good.
Yeah, there were a few botches I noticed, but overall, I thought this was a really, really good match. That I won't say justified the lackluster build, but made up for it.
Yeah, it was a solid Nyla match, which Nyla has her spots and that kind of thing. It was a solid Nyla Britt match, exactly what you would expect. I
Yeah.
did appreciate the Guerrero spot though.
Yeah, that was great. Especially with Vicky getting involved and being like, nah, you're not using my man's fucking spot. Fuck you,
Nah,
bitch.
it was good. Uh, but yeah, no. Nyla tops out to Lockjaw, and now we have Britt Baker ready to face her next opponent, whoever that may
Yeah.
be.
Yeah, like as much as I kind of ragged on the build to this match, it does make sense to have Nyla not job out, but put over Britt
See, here's the
because
thing: if
she is the biggest
Riho,
hoss they've had. She's the only two-time women's champion they've had, so it just makes sense.
yeah, and it's also there's an idea of like if Riho was more available to possibly do it, I'd imagine they'd also done done it with Riho maybe instead,
Yeah.
because then they wouldn't have to work with the weird heel face dynamics. They could just have Riho going like, you know what, you're an evil person, you don't deserve that belt, I want the belt back, and Britt just being
And they may very well still be planning to do that because Riho is available. She's been on Dark the last few weeks.
yeah,
Like she's traveling with them.
yeah. But I'm just saying like that. I think that'd be a good place to start the next one because you don't need a super ton of build for that while you build up some of the more other women roster to do some things.
And there's some people who probably are like begging for it on Twitter right now, but let's not immediately put her back with her old rival, the new as of this recording just today signee Thunder Rosa.
I do think Thunder Rosa should take the belt off of her, just not yet.
Yeah, no. Build Britt for like 6 months to a year before you do her final feud. And like even then, I wouldn't say not definitively Thunder Rosa. I think you could potentially build up Chris Statlander or Penelope Ford or who was the other person? Red Velvet.
Mm-hmm.
I think could be a contender. And Red Velvet would make a great transitional champion too, because then you could immediately put her in a feud with Jade Cargill, play up that recurring rivalry.
I just think Thunder Rosa is just a really good person for a champ because she is a babyface character, but she is confident and cocky enough that she can play heel to an extent.
Yeah.
But I do think like there's possibilities. There's a bunch of possibilities in and about the women's division.
Another person I would love to see become women's champion relatively soon. Tay Conte.
Oh, yeah. Anna Jay?
Anna Jay, certainly.
I mean, she's getting back on her feet.
If we're gonna keep her on because she's not officially signed yet, but she's still traveling with them because she's part of the act. I do hope we one day see Julia Hart as women's champion. I think she would make a great babyface champion.
Yep. But I think that's about all we have for this segment. So you want to talk about the next one?
Yeah, we had a press conference between Proud and Powerful and FTR to discuss their coming match next week. And there's things I like about this segment, but on the whole, I think it comes off very sloppy, especially in the editing. This really feels like it was shot late, and so they had to throw it together really quickly in time for the show.
I can definitely get the feeling for that because it was also is like the presentation of it felt a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
This felt like
I love Santana pulling out like the photos of his mom and his old home and the documents and whatnot, but I was like, and because immediately after they do that, they hard cut to Dax Harwood just being like, "Well, I'm a man where I love my family.
I'm from
America,
Carolina.
I love wrestling, and we're gonna fight." Blah. And I'm like, you don't hard cut into that. You transition into that with something else. And also, what Santana was doing felt like it needed to go on another few minutes.
Mm-hmm. This felt like elements that they wanted to use for other things that they just been having in their back pocket, and they were like, "We need an extra like 2 minutes of TV time. Can you guys whip something up real quick?" And it's like, "Yeah, we got some back pocket ideas. We can just throw it together real quick. Let's just go record in the back room."
Uh-huh. Also, just weird that it's a press conference and there's no one there playing reporters.
Yeah, that's the other thing is it's like because it felt like this could have done better if it was a sit down interview, but like again, it just feels like a lot of things just happen to work against it.
Mm-hmm. Is a weird set. I'm still very much looking forward to this match.
Oh yeah, week,
but,
and I still really love Santana's pulling out the photos. Like that was super impactful.
Oh yeah, because like it starts and I'm like, this is a little awkward. This feels a little weird for this feud. But then as soon as he started pulling out the photos, I was starting to get invested. I was like, all right, go off. Yeah, go off. Oh shit, why is Dax talking now? Jesus.
Why is the Carolina man?
That was a hard fucking cut, dude.
Yeah, very much so. But next we continue with Tony Schiavone in the ring with Andrade El Idolo as he is about to announce his big, "Hey, I got a big surprise, folks. Here's my big thing. I'm still working with the Guerrero, just not Vicky. I'm working with Chavo."
Oh, Chavo!
Please,
I'm waiting all night to do that.
Don't do that ever again, please.
Chavo, let's say.
I will lie, cheat, and steal you out of this podcast. Don't ever do that again.
All right, I need to go to bed.
No, Chavo Guerrero. You know what? I like Chavo Guerrero better as a manager for him than Vicky.
I'm like, really genuinely, I like Chavo Guerrero as a person. He has always come off like a super cool dude in interviews, very much about giving back to the community and like extending the reach of wrestling to other mediums because he is a stunt coordinator for pretty much every Hollywood project in the last like 15 years that has involved wrestling in some way.
That's cool. That's nice.
And so to see him come back to a major wrestling company and be a part of a new sort of big Latino faction that's slowly starting to swell up is a really cool thing. And I love how like he kind of acknowledged that. He's like, "Oh shit, you all remembered. That's awesome. All right, I'm gonna be a heel now."
Yeah, no, he did more babyface pops, just like, "Yo, what's up, Texas?" You know, those kind of things. But eventually they did call out the Death Triangle, Lucha Bros and Pac. And basically they point out the question that we've all been having in the back of our head, but we didn't want to say out loud because it felt a little weird to say. It's like, "Hey, Lucha Bros, y'all are both Mexican. How the fuck did you become friends with this Gordy bastard?"
Was that really something that was on everybody's minds? Because I just assumed, like, oh, they probably did a bunch of indie shows together. And
no, dude, I don't think they've had a ton of. I don't think they've had a ton of interaction before AEW.
I'm not saying like I went like, oh, that's definitely a thing that happened. I just kind of went like, Oh, okay, that makes sense that like these kind of oddballs would gravitate towards each other on the indies or
I think it's just
whatever. I
more of
can fill in
like,
the backstory in my head.
but I also think it's just more of like Lucha Bros are depicted as kind of like coming from legacy lucha family kind of things from
Yeah,
from Mexico, from that community, and Pac has always been portrayed as the Gordy bastard, you know, asshole England fucker who just
yeah, no, I definitely get it. It's just like I saw Ollie Davis's review and him being like, "Oh yeah, this is the question that's been on everybody's mind. Why are these guys teaming together? They seem like they were just thrown
that's why
together."
I say
And
it's
I'm
not
like,
on the mind. It's
I've
in the
never thought about that at all.
it's that's why I say it's in the back of my mind. It was just like, oh, okay, I can dig it. I can get into it. I can see them being friends. I can see them hanging out. It's just more of like, how did they meet though?
Well,
What?
you see, Ray got off his leash and bumped into Pac backstage, and you know, Penta just ran up and started blathering in Spanish, and then Alex came up behind him and went, "Penta says, I'm sorry. He got off his leash and got all excited. Hi, how are you?"
I mean, it is an entire faction that really needs translators.
Yeah.
Get it?
That would be
Because
great if they just had one massive promo that's like for comedy, like Penta says a bunch of shit in Mexican or Spanish. I
I
apologize.
mean,
And then
Mexican regional Spanish. So
yeah, and then Alex translates it, and then Ray says a bunch of stuff in Spanish, and Alex translates it, and then Pac says a bunch of stuff in accented English, and he goes, "Pac says."
they're stupid if they can't understand what I say. Uh,
I'm just doing what you said. You said I should translate before. Or, yeah, I said it so I could make this point. Now shut up, you wanker.
I'm speaking the Queen's English. Fuck you. You wouldn't fucking say that.
Good Christ. Um,
I think it's an interesting question to bring up for this feud.
hmm But also, like, my mind went to, didn't we just do this feud like 6 months ago with fucking Eddie and all that shit?
I think there's a different implication because, like, with Eddie, it's yo, we were on the Indies together. With Andrade, it's much more of like, yo, what are you lords of Lucha doing with this fucking peasant?
hmm
It's much more of like that kind of like upper crust, like, we're royalty, bros. He's in the mud. I think that's the difference.
Yeah. And I am interested to see how this feud goes. Like I said last week, there's going to be nothing but good matches out of this.
Very much so.
Um, but after that, and I'll just run for the next two things real quick. We got a recap of some shit that I assume was shot for Dark, but is setting up things that are going to be happening next week, which is a big brawl between the HFO and several members of the Jurassic Express on Dark, where they had come out and they were trying to attack Marco, and then everybody else came to make the save. And then we go to a promo by Christian Cage with Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus hanging out in the background, going like, "Matt, I thought it was over last week. I thought you and I were fucking done, but you're still sending your guys to pick on my friends, and I'm not going to stand for that. So next week, 6-man, me and these two guys versus your free young boys. Let's fucking do it."
That'll be a fun match.
Mm-hmm. And then we go to another backstage area where Alex Marvez is talking to the Factory, and they go like, "You guys were kind of dicks to Tony Schiavone last week. You poured out a protein shake on his head. What's up with that?" And they're like, "He disrespected us. We don't like being disrespected. You're being very respectful. We're not going to pour a protein shake on your head. Have a nice day."
The Factory, Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Uh, Next up, we have The Blade with the Bunny versus Freshly Squeezed Orange Cassidy. This match starts out pretty fun because Orange Cassidy was laid out earlier in the evening. Blade is acting like, yeah, no, I got this one. He's forfeit. He can't come out here. And then Orange Cassidy sneaks up on him. They have a big, fun, goofy brawl. It's really nice. It's really good. Until eventually, Blade tries to get the Knuckles to knock out Orange Cassidy once and for all. But Orange Cassidy gets a pulpy punch out and wins.
And then for good measure, he hits Blade with the brass knucks after the match.
Hell yeah. Don't let the babyface cheat, but let the babyface get one over the heel.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the bunny got into a kerfuffle with Chris Statlander again.
Yeah, that was a fun spot.
Yeah.
Especially when they actually the part where Orange knocks Blade into Bunny, and fucking Tony Schiavone just starts shouting on commentary, "She dropped her ears!"
God damn.
It's fun. Like, I dead ass laughed at that.
It's a good line. But no, this is a fun match. I don't know if this feels like it's a for right now feud and not a for the future feud, if you get what I mean.
Definitely. But talking about the future and the past, we go backstage, and Alex Marvez is talking to Chris Jericho. He says, like, so, Nick Gage last week.
Next week.
How you feeling about that, Christopher? Well, if MJF wants to pull out some dark and evil people, I'm gonna have to go to a dark and evil place. And he turns around, and the Painmaker is back, baby.
How do you feel about the Painmaker?
I'm excited. I like the Painmaker. I genuinely think it's a cool looking gimmick. I know there's people who make fun of the makeup and the hat, but I'm like, that's part of the charm of it. It's a little bit camp. It's a little bit sadistic. It's a throwback to things like Undertaker and Kane.
I think I'd like it better if the hat fit his head better. That's it. If he just got a little bit bigger of a hat.
Kind of fair.
That's it.
Then we get a rundown of next week on Fight for the Fallen. Real quick, I don't know if I like them always doing Fyter Fest and Fight for the Fallen back to back, because they did that last year too, and I feel like those should be spaced out by at least a month.
I'm fine with them trying to hype up stuff, you know. They're getting the crowds back. We got crowds back. We need Fight for the I bet you dollars to donuts if we were in December they do Winter's Coming again too.
Oh yeah, probably. But on that show you will have Jericho versus Gage, Proud and Powerful versus FTR, Christian and Jurassic Express versus the HFO, Hikuleo challenging for the IWGP US title. Whoever wins the next match will be in that title match. Just to remind everyone, he was shown in the crowd during an earlier match. I forget which match exactly it was. And they talked extensively about, like, he is the son of Haku / Mang. And he is one half of the Gorillas of Destiny with his brother, Tama Tonga.
Oh, shit. I didn't pick that up. Mm-hmm. And you know how much shit Tama Tonga's been talking about the fucking Elite, bro.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like I popped for just from seeing him, because I was like, oh shit, if Hikuleo's there, how long until Tonga shows up?
Oh man. Okay, this is very fantasy booking. Imagine Tama Tonga teaming up with Frankie Kazarian just to fuck over the Elite.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to be a continuous feud. I want it to be at least one match, because just imagine that.
Jay White's already in America. What if Tama comes over? You got your Free Man Bullet Club, and they're just like, "Hey Frankie, you want a little help? You want some friends? We'll be your friends. Let's go beat up our old friends." But also next week, there's going to be a major live event announcement from Tony Khan himself. So I'm assuming that means we're getting a Tony Khan on stage or in-ring promo, perhaps.
I think, real quick, I think that's just, hey, we're doing some house shows.
That, or potentially an announcement regarding the R-Thrash Stadium show.
Hmm.
Potentially some rumor confirmation, maybe.
I mean, TNT did say, "Hey, don't do surprises. We like to let's promote things so we can get a bigger rating."
And I mean, this could give him a chance to like also react to the rumors without reacting to the rumors. He could literally just come out and say like, "So y'all have been seeing it online. Let's just cut to the chase. He's not here, but Daniel Bryanson will be in action in New York City."
Yeah. Oh man. Over under if they do get Bryan Danielson. Flight of the Valkyries or Final Countdown?
It has to be Final Countdown because this might be the last run of his career. You got to bring it full circle.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then we will also have the massive, I think it's a 10-man tag of the Elite versus Hangman and Dark Order. And they announced that Cody versus Malachi will take place at Dynamite Homecoming, which is being booked as their last show in Jacksonville for a long time.
Oh man, that's gonna be fun. The Malachi match.
I hope they do a little more to build it next week too, because like that's a little pet peeve I've had with Cody in the last few years. Outside of the factory shit, all his feuds have been like promo match. That's it. I want drag it out a little more. Remember to build to the Jericho feud. Can we get something like that again, please?
Honestly, I think it's partially because he's going like, I don't want to take too much time from others.
Probably.
I'm a big enough name. We can sell the match. Just give us a couple promos, and we won't take time from other people.
Probably.
I don't think we're gonna get much more from Cody Rhodes. I think we're gonna get a lot more from Malachi.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like we all know how Cody feels about things. We've had enough time with Cody, but like if this is to establish and put over Malachi, let Malachi tear Cody a new one on the mic at least once before this match.
I wouldn't want it to be live in the ring. I want it to be a pre-recorded, almost Dark Father kind of like segment, but like for the new Malachi, kind of a Sane Asylum, that kind of madness of the character. Maybe he's training with his officially endorsed Muay Thai training gym, because apparently like he's endorsed by like
he got a clothing deal with like one of his favorite companies apparently.
Yeah, not just that, but like the Muay Thai gym he trains at, he's officially endorsing them. Would it be sad if I went like, yo, watching Malachi just makes me try to try Muay Thai?
I was not interested in fitness at all until I started watching wrestling in general. So,
but like, just
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Just it's just the way he fucking kicks. It's dope. Muay Thai looks sick.
But you want to take us into our main event?
In the main event of the evening, we have one Joxy Moxie. Jox. My brain fucking fried there for a moment. John Moxley versus
good
the
old
murder.
Jack
Mack. That's a fucking Pokemon now. Jack Mack.
Somebody do that fan art of John Moxley as a Pokemon.
Versus the Murder Hawk monster Lance Archer for the IWGP US Heavyweight Championship in a Texas-style death match. Meaning, no pinfall. The only way you can win is submission or count out.
Well, they said knockout on the
knockout, count out, the whole shtick.
Yeah, you can't fucking answer to count of 10.
Yeah, you can't answer to count of 10. You cannot, like, pinfalls or none thing. This was fucking good.
This was a great match. I loved this match. And like, man, it was bloody in that way that's like just bloody enough. It's not like that disgusting, emotional, borderline over the top blood and guts Cody versus Dustin kind of way. it's bloody in that like these guys are really fucking each other up kind of way.
Yeah, no, it's also like in that line of like over the top bloody Britt Baker for the Thunder Rosa, unsanctioned, that kind of thing.
And it's also like just going crazy and going all over the place. Like that bit when they went into the crowd, you know me, that's like it's one of my favorite wrestling tropes going into the crowd, so I marked out for that. And then Mox fucking just threw a guy at Archer.
No, Archer threw the guy at Mox.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It was Archer. Part of me
like that was probably like one of his friends.
Oh yeah.
Who he was like, yeah, I'll give you tickets to the show, but you have to let me throw you at a guy. What?
Man. Part of me thinks like Mox was like going like, all right, we need to make sure this match is really fucking good because Nick Gage is in the back. He's gonna be watching it, and I don't want to hear shit from him.
Yeah.
Man, no, but this is good. It was solid. It was classic hardcore, classic death match.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I would say was possibly not great for maybe some people was the ending. Because your segment, you leave.
Yeah. But eventually, tables are set up on the outside. Moxley pulls out his signature thing in a death match, a barbed wire plank, and he sets two of them on the table. He goes to try and get Archer on there, and Archer pushes him through the tables, through the barbed wire. Jon Moxley is caught up in the barbed wire. He cannot answer the count of 10. And our new IWGP Heavyweight U.S. Champion, I said some of those words in the wrong order, Lance fucking Archer.
Yeah, Lance two-time. It happened, and it makes sense. He's a hometown boy. You put over the hometown boy, you give him the belt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where you go with the belt from here, aside from the obvious Hikuleo gets in the ring and they have a stare down. But, like, also just a nice surprise. Not like a, what the fuck? I can't believe they did that title change. But
it's not a swerve. Yeah. It's just like, oh, okay, yeah, no.
All right, I can vibe. I can get with that. I wasn't expecting it, but I can get with that. It's very similar to, it's not as hype, but it's similar in nature to my reaction to Brody Lee winning the TNT Championship. Because that, like, if you remember way back when, we watched that show together, and and we were literally just talking over that match, like, who cares? This is just another Cody TNT. Wait, what? Oh!
And 2 minutes later.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a similar kind of thing of like, I was not expecting that, but all right. Yeah, let's go.
But this also shows a lot of trust that New Japan has in AEW of like, yeah, no, you can do a title change on your program.
Mm-hmm.
On one of the major titles.
They re-air the match on Strong.
Yeah. They did?
No, I said they're probably going to.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But,
yeah, no, I find this really just shows off how trusting they are of each other, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But then we get Hikuleo and Jim Ross coming his fucking pants.
Yeah, because he's like, oh my god, he's so tall. I have to tell Vince about this man.
Vince, fuck you, we got someone tall. You can't have him. Ha!
Vince is like, I've been trying to get that man his entire life. He will not come. How the fuck?
No. But this was a solid Dynamite.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't the best. I think it kind of lulled towards the middle a little bit, but overall it was very good.
Yeah. I think because it did have like one of the best fucking beginnings and one of the best endings, that of course the middle's gonna feel a little lackluster because we opened with Nick fucking Gage.
Yeah, that's like, and I think to an extent, to go back to talking about that for a second, I think to an extent it was intentional putting that huge pop at the front because you get everybody who maybe is thinking of skipping Dynamite this week to immediately turn it on and watch the whole rest of the show.
Right. God damn it. How many people are going to be like, oh man, I haven't watched wrestling since ECW back in the day, are going to turn in because of Nick Gage?
Mm-hmm.
next week.
You know what was crazy? I saw a tweet from Izzy, the fucking what's her name? Sasha's friend. WWE. Bailey. Izzy. Superfan Izzy.
Mm-hmm.
She's all grown up now, and she's a Nick Gage fan. She reacted to the news by posting a selfie she had taken with him a while ago.
I'm just glad Nick Gage seems to be on a good path. You know, shit's happened to him. He deserves to work at himself.
Yeah.
But then we also ended with a fucking title change, and that's like big and huge. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Start strong, end strong. Just kind of do whatever in the middle.
Yeah, and it's still strong. It's average strong. It's not like super strong.
It's off day strong. It's not gym day strong.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it for Dynamite this week.
Yeah.
So we have any other major wrestling things that we need to talk about, or should we start pimping our shit?
I guess we could pimp some shit.
Pimp the shit, boy!
Hey everybody, I am the Vacuuminator, a toy reviewer right here on YouTube land. I put out new reviews of slightly new, slightly old toys each and every week. My latest review is of the Transformers Generations Kingdom, Inferno, and Huffer figures. Two Transformers that I had been looking forward to for quite a while and actually almost skipped out on, and was pleasantly surprised by one, and another one kind of filled the slot. I won't tell you which though. Go watch the review to find out which is which, and also maybe consider supporting my Patreon while you're over there, because that just relaunched. Yeah, you can find all of that kind of stuff at youtube.com/thevacuuminator, which is spelled TheVacuuminator. You can follow me on Twitter at thevacuuminator, and you can follow me on Instagram for daily toy photography photos, which is at _vacuuminator. And you might be seeing a little bit of these fellas over there pretty soon.
You're missing Yellow. Where's the yellow?
We haven't made her yet.
Where's the yellow?
Fucking ask Hasbro that.
Where's the black?
You're literally the only person asking that.
Where's the white?
I have white. I already had him. He's open. He's in the other room.
Where's Mesogog?
You know what? I don't necessarily want Mesogog, but I would.
Mesogog was one of the best fucking Disney villains. Come on.
He was, but I don't think of him as like an action figure. I think of him as like a talkie character.
But imagine Mesogog with an opening dino mouth. Come on, dude.
True, but you know what I go for before I go for that? Tommy and Zeltrax 2-pack.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Mesogog had the best fucking lip flaps of the entire Disney era.
Oh, yeah, because that was actually the voice actor in that suit.
Yeah, that was just top notch. Mesogog, one of the best Disney villains. I will not accept any argument against it.
No. It's like, it's Mesogog, Vengex, and then everyone else.
Luthor gets a special spot in the heart because he's funny.
See, I'm one of those weirdos who just never bought into that brand of comedy in Ninja Storm. So there's character beats I like in Ninja Storm, but on the whole, I don't vibe with Ninja Storm.
Yeah, I can understand that. This is Toku. We'll talk about talking about Toku in a minute after I talk about my shit. I got him with that one. Hey, howdy, I'm Chris Boingo Writer Gaston. I make video essays and editorials on YouTube at Boingo Writer. I also have an Instagram at Boingo_Writer and a Twitter where I am doing some things at Boingo_Writer there too.
Yeah, what's going on with that? You gonna get that looked into? I saw there was some changes.
I've got it. I've gotten it looked into, and boy, I'm working with it's weird. Just one day, I kind of blacked out for a couple hours, and then I wake up, something's on my computer. It's fucking weird, fucking cool, fucking interesting. It's gonna revolutionize how we look at operating systems. I guarantee this.
Okay.
Dude, Clippy, a joke.
Well, Clippy's already a joke, so.
More of a. Come on, work with me here.
It was like a fucking salad Ethan bit.
What? But we got to talk about talking about Toku. So why don't you tell people about the Toku podcast where you talk about Toku?
Hey everybody, if you want to hear about everything and anything from the latest in the world of live-action Japanese special effects, go listen to Twit, or This Week in Toku, a weekly tokusatsu podcast hosted by myself and Buster Core right here on the Modular Media channel. And it's going to be a lot to talk about this week because we got a whole bunch of news regarding the next season of Kamen Rider. Some pretty neat, some that is giving me a headache, quite frankly.
You got to remember, there's a weird context of that stuff in Japan.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying it's justified. I'm just saying there's a context there that needs to be understood. But in the meantime, hey, if you want to see two fucking white boys talk about Marvel comics and Marvel movies and Marvel merchandise and other comics such as the Distinguished Competition, you can always check out No Prize Pod.
And my wife. I talk about my wife.
And your wife. Come check out No Prize Podcast on Mondays where we talk about all that kind of shit. It's dope. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. You want to tell people about Components?
Modular Components is the flagship show for Modular Media, where pretty much just whoever's got time shows up on Sunday night, cracks open a drink, and chit chats about whatever. It's a total shoot the shit show where we just we hang out and have a lovely time with the boys, and you're all invited to be a fly on the wall for it.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And this has been Modular Media Wrestling Podcast. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you're listening to this on YouTube, hey, give us a like, a comment, and subscribe to the channel to get this podcast and the others we just described. And if you're listening to this on a podcasting platform of your choice, such as iTunes, Anchor, Spotify, give us a follow there and tell people about the podcast. I don't know where I was going with that bit. It just kind of fizzled out there.
Well, you know, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah. Normally it doesn't happen to me. It's a weird thing.
Yeah.
I mean, normally my bits are very good.
I can see where this is going, and I'm not following you down that path.
See you next week, folks.